Horsepower, freedom, pure American muscle. The 1960s was the decade that changed the automotive industry. Drivers were hungry for something new and aggressive, and car manufacturers didn't disappoint. This hunger led to the birth of muscle cars, vehicles that were unlike anything the world had seen before. In fact, the 1960s had so many of these iconic machines that you might think of building a collection for yourself. Today, however, we're not just going to look at any muscle car, we're going to look at the best of the best. With that being said, here are 10 insane muscle cars from the 60s. Number 10, 1968 AMC AMX. American Motors Corporation arrived late to the muscle car race, but they came with a game-changing design that caught everyone's attention. Designer Dick Teague created the AMX as a direct challenge to Ford's Mustang and Chevy's Corvette, offering a compact two-seat sports car at a more affordable price point. The top engine for 1968 was a 390 cubic inch power plant, producing 315 horsepower, which transformed the lightweight 3,000-pound car into a performance bargain. What made the AMX truly special was its ability to provide insane acceleration at a fraction of the cost of its competitors. With a 0 to 60 mile per hour time of around 6.5 seconds and a quarter-mile time of 14.5 seconds, the car proved that American Motors could compete with the big Detroit manufacturers. The company continued its strategy of providing high value, now with a twist that appealed to the hip baby boomer market. Each AMX was a statement of affordable performance, proving that muscle cars weren't just for the wealthy. Number 9, 1966 Dodge Coronet Street Hemi. Chrysler's decision to bring the race-only 426 Hemi to the street was nothing short of revolutionary. The move came after NASCAR made it clear that if car manufacturers don't make their race cars for the public, they couldn't race them. The result was a 425 horsepower engine that could be ordered by anyone with enough cash and a desire for pure performance. Developing the Street Hemi was no small feat. Chrysler's engineers had to modify the race-only engine to make it reliable in all weather conditions and at different altitudes. This led to an engine that would become legendary, powering both Dodge and Plymouth Intermediates. The Coronet would sprint from 0 to 60 miles an hour in about 5.3 seconds, with quarter-mile times in the low 14-second range. Remarkably, the basic formula of this engine changed little throughout the decade, a testament to its incredible initial design. Number 8, 1965 Pontiac GTO TriPower. 1965 was a year of refinement for the Pontiac GTO, which had already sparked the muscle car revolution. The TriPower carburetor setup peaked this year, offering a sophisticated performance package that enthusiasts would talk about for decades. Pontiac boosted the base 389 cubic inch engine to 355 horsepower, while the TriPower version produced an impressive 360 horsepower. To be honest, the car was a bold move by Pontiac, deliberately exceeding GM's corporate engine displacement limit for midsize models. Its success was immediate and overwhelming, with sales more than doubling to 75,342 units. The TriPower system made use of 3 two-barrel carburetors that provided a unique and responsive performance characteristic that set the GTO apart from its competitors. With a 0 to 60 mile per hour time of around 6.6 seconds and a quarter-mile time of 14.8 seconds, the GTO was a true performance machine that defined the muscle car era. Number 7, 1970 Chevelle SS 454. The Chevrolet Malibu's midsize A-body platform became the cornerstone of muscle car performance, with the Chevelle SS sitting on top of the popularity pile for decades. In 1970, the 454 cubic inch big block became available through a special equipment option that was the magic handshake for true performance enthusiasts. The car manufacturer offered 2 versions, the 360 horsepower LS5 and the legendary LS6 with a solid lifter, a cowl-inducted design that featured an 11-to-1 compression ratio, and a staggering 450 horsepower. At the time, this was the most horsepower ever offered in a production car. Just 4,475 LS6-powered SS 454 Chevelles were produced in 1970, making them incredibly rare. The car could blast from 0 to 60 miles an hour in about 6.1 seconds, with a quarter-mile time in the low 14-second range. Number 6, 1969 Chevrolet COPO 427 CI Camaro. Chevrolet released so many cars in the 60s, but the 1969 COPO Camaro was their best shot at backdoor performance strategy. Central Office Production Order, or COPO, was typically used for fleet vehicles, but a few clever dealerships discovered a way to squeeze Chevy's most potent engine into its lightest car. There were actually 2 COPO 427 Camaros, the COPO 9561 with the solid lifter L72 iron block 427, of which an estimated 1,015 units were built, and the rarer COPO 9560 with the aluminum ZL1 427 big block, of which only 69 were produced. Dealers like Yanko, Fred Gibb, and Berger became legendary for their COPO Camaros. Most people didn't know this back then, but the car could even be ordered with the V75 code liquid tire chain option. Essentially a remote-controlled burnout juice dispenser that sprayed traction aid on the rear tires. With 430 horsepower on tap, these Camaros could run the quarter mile in around 13.5 seconds, making them some of the most potent street-legal performers of their era. Number 5. 1969 Ford Boss 429 Mustang. The Boss 429 Mustang wasn't designed to be a street performance car, but a backdoor ticket to NASCAR racing success. Ford's most potent Mustang was actually homologated for NASCAR, with racers ultimately competing with the Ford Hemi in the mid-size Torino. When approved for production in March 1969, the Boss 429 was destined to be rare, with only 859 units built in 1969 and an additional 499 in 1970. Officially rated at a conservative 375 horsepower, the engine was a sleeping power plant that could be easily tuned to much higher performance levels. The car's engine bay was so narrow that the cars were sent to Carcraft in Michigan for modifications before receiving their special Hemi engines and performance equipment. The 1969 model featured a hydraulic cam, which was replaced with a mechanical tappet in 1970, offering even more performance potential. 0 to 60 miles per hour times hovered around 6.2 seconds, with quarter-mile times in the mid-14-second range. Number 4. 1969 Plymouth Road Runner 426 Hemi. Plymouth Road Runner was the everyman's performance car, as it combined affordability with brutal straight-line speed. Powered by a 426 Hemi engine, it delivered 425 horsepower and could sprint from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 5.5 seconds. Named after the cartoon character, the Road Runner came with a deliberately stripped-down interior to keep costs low and performance high. The car was also priced to appeal to younger buyers. Not just that, it featured a distinctive cartoon Roadrunner logo and the famous beep beep horn. The lightweight B-body design, combined with the massive Hemi engine, made it one of the most potent performance cars of its era. Number 3. 1969 Dodge Charger Daytona. Dodge's audacious NASCAR homologation special was a radical departure from conventional automotive design. Built to dominate racing circuits, the Daytona featured a distinctive aerodynamic nose cone and a massive rear wing that looked more like an aircraft component than a car part. The 426 Hemi engine produced 425 horsepower, propelling the car from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 5.3 seconds. Only 503 units were produced, making the Daytona incredibly rare. Its wind tunnel-tested body could achieve top speeds of nearly 200 miles per hour, a remarkable feat for a street-legal car in 1969. The car's unique design included lightweight aluminum components and special performance packages that made it a legend on both the street and track. Number 2. 1967 Chevrolet Corvette 427. The 1967 Corvette 427 is undoubtedly one of Chevrolet's best cars to this day. At a time when the space race was capturing America's imagination, this car embodied the same spirit of technological innovation. The L88 version was so extreme that Chevrolet actually limited its sales to inexperienced drivers as they wouldn't know how to handle it. With 3 different 427 cubic inch engine options ranging from 390 to an underrated 430 horsepower, the Corvette was a chameleon of performance. The top-tier L88 version was essentially a race car wearing street-legal clothing. Sporting a radical solid lifter camshaft and high-compression heads, it could go from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 4.5 seconds. Chevrolet produced only 20 of these ultimate L88 Corvettes in 1967, making them the holy grail for collectors and performance enthusiasts. Number 1. 1969 Chevrolet Camaro ZL1. By 1969, the muscle car war had reached an intensity no one expected, and in order to win this war, Chevrolet had to build a car that would surpass everything everyone had ever built. This is how the Camaro ZL1 was born. The car came with an all-aluminum 427 cubic inch V8 engine that was officially rated at 430 horsepower, but actually generated up to 550 horsepower, making the ZL1 a drag strip assassin. Chevrolet produced just 69 of this model, each one a piece of automotive history. The lightweight aluminum block gave the car an unprecedented power-to-weight ratio, allowing it to go from 0 to 60 miles an hour in a blistering 4.8 seconds, allowing it to compete with current sports cars. Which other muscle cars do you think should be on the list? Let us know in the comments.